Hey guys, Dylan here from Suda Gaming, and today I will be talking about, I guess, just giving you some general tips on how you can succeed in the Souls games. Now, this game is kind of hard, especially if you've never played it before. So, I mean, these tips are more geared towards newer players because people who are more of like veteran who have played the game a lot, they're gonna know all the ins and outs and when you can do this and when you can do that and all the proper stat placements and all that, yada yada. I'm just giving you some basic tips. Some of these rules or some of these tips you'll be able to break once you really learn how to play the game. Like once you really, I guess, learn how the game works and stuff like that. But this is just being safe tips, all right? So you don't just hit a brick wall in the game and you can't go any further, all right? And I'm not saying this is the best way to play, but these are just some tips to help you out when you're new. First off, acknowledge that you're gonna die because it's gonna happen in the game. So if you don't like dying, I wouldn't play this game. If you rage a lot, probably wouldn't play this game. I mean, this game really is a challenge. It's really fun, but if you get super mad and turn into a little girl whenever you die, this game isn't for you, and you should never actually pick up this game. Otherwise, you'll probably break some keyboards, some controllers, monitor. If you're playing on the PC like I am. Or you'll break a PS4, an Xbox One, an Xbox 360. I don't even think these games are out for PS4 and Xbox One yet. But regardless, you get my point. You're gonna break shit. You're gonna kick holes in the walls if you do that. All right. So first off, I'm just gonna go ahead and talk about how you should really try to gear your character and put where you should put your stats at. Some of this is your opinion, but I'm just gonna give you a general guideline. So. In Dark Souls, you're going to have bosses who are resistant to different things. So, naturally, you know what that means? You want to have an answer for every boss, which means you want to have the biggest variety possible to make sure that you are well equipped to fight each and every boss. Now, I am a dexterity and a faith build right now. So, I can deal melee damage and all that jazz, and then if for some reason the boss is really tough, as a melee, I can just stand back, throw lightning bolts or some kind of magic at him, whatever I need to do. Now intelligence. Now if you go intelligence, it also opens up pyromancies and dark magic, so keep that in mind. Intelligence is definitely like you could honestly put all your points into intelligence if you really wanted to and actually succeeded the game, but I mean. There are going to be points where you're going to get brick walled and it's going to be really hard. But there are ways to make sure you don't get brick walled no matter what stats you do. But this is just my opinion on where you should put your stats. So, if you are wanting to play melee, you can either choose strength or dexterity. If you choose dexterity, you'll be able to use bows as well. If you choose strength, you'll be able to wield heavier armor, So you'll be able to take more damage. You'll be able to block. You'll be able to hold bigger shields, which can block more damage and stuff like that. You'll be able to deal a hefty amount of damage because some of the strength weapons in the game are just ridiculous. Like, Jesus, some of them are pretty good. I would recommend if you're not wanting to use magic, because magic is the easiest way to play through the game. That has been proven time and time again throughout most of the Souls games, because being in a range makes all those, really kind of hard to fight melee attackers just worthless. But if you want to do a melee build, definitely put points in either intelligence or faith. Not a lot, but enough to where you can use Sunlight Blade if you go faith, or the Great Magic Weapon if you go intelligence, because those will enchant your weapon and make it quite a bit stronger, make it deal magic damage, which will still not be good against some bosses, but chances are it's actually going to be better than the Imbued Weapon, which once you get to a certain point in the game, you'll be able to go to a blacksmith. You'll be able to say, hey, I want you to imbue this with fire and stuff like that. Well, the Sunlight Blade will do lightning, and the Great Magic Weapon will do magic, and it's more than likely going to be stronger than the weapon that you imbue it to. Now, I could be wrong, but from my experience, that's been the way it was for me. Because especially once you get up into like Crystal Magic Weapon and stuff like that, it just gets stupid ridiculous. So, but Sunlight Blade and the Great Magic Weapon, and then also when you do get to that point where you can imbue things, definitely try to imbue things, because you want to have that answer, like I said, to the bosses, because they're all going to be weak against something, and they're all going to have have a really high resist against something, and they're all just going to have well, we're kind of indifferent about this stat, so it just deals normal damage. You know what I mean? So you want to have that answer. So definitely try to keep a very wide variety. I mean, me, I want to be able to use a bow. I want to be able to wield a shield. I also wanted to be able to use faith so I could have some kind of magic. And that's what this character has developed into. So I can use high dexterity weapons. I can use lightning bolt. I can use sunlight blade. I can use this shield, which required the 15 strength that you see here, and all that jazz. But I mean, as you play the game, you'll realize that yes, there are certain ways to just put all your points into one stat. But if you've never played the game before, you don't want to do that. You really don't, because you're not gonna know how to do because you're gonna need certain items to go out and actually be able to do that. And if you don't know where those items are, because like I said, you never played, you're just going to get rolled, you're going to get brick walled, so you want to keep the variety on your first playthrough, and then you can just kind of put points wherever after that. You know, I mean, it's going to seem like it's hard to make a variety at the beginning, but just do your best to try to get the biggest range that you can. I mean, but then again, you know, you don't have to take this tip to heart. If you feel like, you know, you're doing fine or whatever, if you're actually already in the middle of the game, do it. You know, just go with what works, alright? Be water. Go the path of least resistance, alright? Okay, so next up, always upgrade your gear. I mean, you definitely want to do it. Like, I have a sword that's like +5. Like, this is +5. And then I have this thing, it's +9. This thing's amazing. It corrodes fast, which is a lot of damage. But yeah, definitely do that. Like, I have my leggings upgraded, and I would like to upgrade my armor some more, but I don't have the materials at the moment. Alright. Because that's just going to help you. It's just going to give you stat boosts that you need. It'll make you all more resistant. You'll see a noticeable difference if you upgrade your gear to whenever it wasn't upgraded. You'll see it, trust me. Trust me on that. Or don't trust me, your choice, your life. But anyway, so next off, I guess that really covers it with the character, so I'll just go like some generalness of how to go about fighting bosses and progressing through areas. The first thing I would say is I really wouldn't run around with a lot of souls. Now, the definition of a lot of souls is different depending on your level. Like, if you're level 10, 5,000 souls could be considered a decent amount of souls that you don't want to lose. If you're level like 100 though, like me, 5,000 souls ain't jack shit. So it doesn't matter. And I honestly probably could go kill something and get 5,000 souls off of it. Actually, no, probably not that much, but you know, you get my point. The higher, like, the further you are in the game, the more souls each thing drops. Like, I'm level 106 right now, and I'm only like halfway through the game, I think, if that. So, yeah, so definitely try to use your souls when you have them on either upgrading or something, so you don't get set back by losing them. Don't put off if you know that you want to go up and level up, but you also want to go see what's over here. I would just go level up first just to be safe if you're in one of those kind of scenarios. Next up, don't be afraid to just farm. Like, just farm one area just to get souls and level up more. It's better to be over leveled for the next area than to be under leveled. If you're feeling like this, like a certain area is really hard and you're not doing much, just stop. Don't repeatedly die. It's a terrible idea. Just run back, go to a place you know you can kill shit that gives a decent amount of souls, and just farm it until they don't respawn. Go to another spot, and you know, just keep doing that until you have enough souls to either upgrade your equipment or just upgrade your stats so you can get to the point you need to be so you can keep progressing. Next up, never rush in head first anywhere, because if you do that, you're going to die, you're going to lose your souls. You want to be nice. You want to take it nice and easy, you know. Just kind of, if you're running to like a place like this, you know, it's really narrow. You never know what exactly is going to come through these corridors. So you got to be really careful. I mean, given I know for a fact what's going through here because I've been through here, but you know what I mean. Like here, I remember when I was walking through here, I was just like, okay, alright, where's the monster at? Where's it at? Where's it at? Just kind of, and like, oh, there's a bonfire. If you do see a bonfire, just know that you're safe, and that's going to be the best feeling, is finding a bonfire. Just, you're going to feel like, oh man, I could die, and just have to be reset so far back. And you'll see that bonfire, and then everything will be okay. All your hopes and fears, I mean, all your worries and fears will just melt away into the bonfire. But anyway, yeah. Also, what if you are not sure how to beat a boss, or like if you're going into a boss fight and you're like, oh man, well, how do I know what he does and what to dodge? You're just gonna have to kind of sit there with like a shield up or roll or something, or dodge the boss as much as you can, so you can just kind of get the idea of what exactly he does, and then from there you can kind of adjust and go ahead and start killing him. Now you're gonna know what a boss does, all of his abilities, within like maybe a minute of fighting him, but you got to be careful because you might even die in that minute. Depending on the boss, because some bosses are easier than others. Don't judge a book by its cover. Some of the hard looking bosses are really easy, and then some of the easy looking bosses are actually really hard. So definitely just keep that in mind. Also, if you're going into a boss fight, okay, if you have a human effigy if you're playing Dark Souls 2, if you have a humanity if you're playing the first Dark Souls, I'm not sure what it is in Demon Souls, because I actually have never played Demon Souls, unfortunately. But if you have the human effigy, you might, and you're at a boss door, I would honestly say, and you're having trouble, I would go try the boss fight without it first. If you die, then just go back, use the human effigy, and summon someone for the fight. Being able to summon people for a boss fight can actually be the difference between you getting past the boss and not getting past the bosses, because some of the bosses in this game are just hard. Alright, now I mean there are definitely all doable solo, but some bosses are hard, they're really tedious, and you're just gonna be sitting there like, block, alright, hit once, alright, block, hit once, alright, now and then run, dodge, right, block, hit once, all that jazz to get past them. So, I mean, having multiple people always makes the bosses easier. Like, I think the hardest boss that I honestly think I was having trouble getting past, this was because I was actually under-leveled. I didn't have my gear upgraded as much either, but it was essentially the boss was extremely resistant to physical, and I didn't have this fire weapon yet because I was actually at the point where you find the thing that lets you go and imbue your weapons. And I hadn't found it yet when I could have just found it before, but but this guy was extremely resistant to physical, so I was just up there hitting him, and nothing was happening. So I was like, okay, used the human effigy, got 2 other people in there. Fight was actually still pretty hard, because I guess that boss is actually just tough. But we were able to get him, which was nice. So, yeah, but definitely, if you have the option to summon someone, just do it. That's the best thing to do. Also, if you get invaded, I guess this is just another thing, is that if you get invaded, alright, if you get invaded by somebody and you're low level, you can, honestly, I would just Alt F4 out of the game right then, right there. You won't really lose. If you hit a bonfire, you won't lose any. If you had hit a bonfire at some point, or you never done something, you won't really lose any progress from it. I mean, don't quote me on that, because you are just literally just stopping a program, so you might lose a little bit. But most of the, but I honestly don't think I've ever actually lost anything. Unless, most of the time, if I lose things, it's honestly because, my computer straight up crashes or something like that. I had to, whenever I was playing Dark Souls, I had a different computer before I built this new one, and it just crashed, and I just lost a ton of data. But, if you Alt F4, normally you can just come back in. So, if you get invaded, and you know that you can't kill an invader because you're bad at PvP or something, just Alt F4 out of the game. It kicks him out. All you have to do is reopen the game and go right back to what you're doing, because invaders are they're the asshole of Dark Souls. All right, I'm just being honest. That's what they are. All right, they just say, hey, guess what? I'm going to ruin your day. Let me tell you a little story. All right, this is the worst thing I think that might have ever happened to me. All right, so I'm playing Dark Souls, the first Dark Souls out of the 2. All right, I'm just playing Dark Souls. I'm in the beginning of the game. If you play the game, I was over by the Hellkite Dragon that you can shoot his tail off and get the Drake Sword. I was just kind of sitting there actually doing that, because I wanted the Drake Sword. It was a sword that you get really early that was pretty decent whenever you're low level. It gets really bad when you get higher level. But I was just sitting there doing that and said, you got invaded. And I was like, oh crap. I'll just try to fight him. I can do it. So the guy walks over to me. It just so happens that he has this thing called Egg Vermifuge. And pretty much what it does is makes your head look like this big dildo. And he hits me with it. My head turns into a dildo. It also curses you. Makes it to where you're running around now with half health. I was not human. I had no humanity. I'm not even sure. I guess I'm trying to think if there's actually a way to get humanity before that point. Because I know I ran out of humanity. So it was either that or I couldn't find anybody to summon, because I had to go kill a boss called the Bell Tower Gargoyles, and that boss, and I had like half health, and just like I was so low level that I had any gear, and honestly, like having half health, I just kept dying, and dying and dying and dying and dying, and then I'm pretty sure I ended up running out of humanity, and I was just like, all right, screw this, and I just restarted the game, and I was back at that point in like 5 seconds. But yeah, but pretty much watch out, because if you're low level, I guess pretty much what I'm saying here is that invaders can just completely ruin your day. If you know you can't kill them, Alt F4 out. That sounds like a little base way to get out of it, but when you're playing Dark Souls, it's just kind of like, it's like you didn't ask them to come into your day, like to come into your game. They're literally just being an a-hole by saying, I think I'm going to go invade somebody just for the fun of killing them probably before they've hit a bonfire. You know what I mean? I mean, given this is Dark Souls, you knew that before you signed up, or maybe you didn't, but yeah, but I would just say all that four out. I mean, personally, I don't, because I always try to kill him even if I die, because like I'm somewhat good at PvP, like I can kill people, but I've also been killed a fair amount of times in PvP, because sometimes they also just kind of catch you when like you have no Estus flasks, you got nothing, you pretty much, you're just butt ass naked, you got your pants down, all right, and they just walk up behind you and just boom, you're dead. But yep. So let's think. Is there anything that I have not went over in these tips that I am given right now? I think I've really been over all the basic tips for the game. So I really hope you enjoy the game. The game is fun. It's fantastic. Definitely. I mean, try out the tips. Even leave comments if you think you have better tips, because you know what? You might. I'm not the know-all be-all of Dark Souls, so keep that in mind. I'm just trying to help out new players. So thanks for watching, guys. Like, subscribe, and I'll see you next time for some more Dark Souls 2 or tech unboxings, or I don't know. We'll see. Well, actually, I guess I do know. More gameplay videos, more tech unboxings. Pretty much just all things gaming, So, thanks for watching, guys. Like, subscribe. See you next time. Bada bing, bada boom. Bada bing. Where's my mouse? I lost my mouse. Okay, there it is.